The desert sun had just slipped beneath the horizon along Interstate 10, offering only the faintest relief from the day's punishing heat. Cal Harper idled his 18-wheeler at a rest stop off Dillon Road, just outside Indio, California. The pavement still shimmered with residual warmth, radiating heat like a stovetop. He stretched his stiff legs and topped off his insulated cup with gas station coffee, burnt, bitter, but reliable. It was going to be a long haul to Las Vegas, hauling a trailer full of agro parts through the night. Across the lot, a black Porsche 911 gleamed like a polished sculpture, its curves catching the last traces of light. Cal let out a low whistle. "Now that's a machine," he muttered, eyeing its sleek, predatory stance. The tinted windows concealed the driver, but Cal pictured some high-powered exec bound for Los Angeles. With a shrug, he climbed back into his rig. The moment slipped away as quickly as it came. He had miles to cover on the empty stretch of Highway 95, and night had already taken hold. About 2 hours later, deep into Highway 95, the desert sky unfurled into a blanket of stars above an endless stretch of blacktop. Cal's headlights cut a tunnel through the dark, while his CB radio sat silent. Up ahead, a pair of taillights glowed, low, red, swaying gently. As he closed the distance, he recognized the car, a Porsche. Looked like the same one from the truck stop, but it was crawling, barely pushing 35 in a 55. Cal's rig loomed behind it, massive and impatient. "Come on, buddy. This ain't a Sunday drive," he muttered, checking his mirrors. The highway was empty, a straight, silent ribbon through nowhere. He flipped on his blinker, eased into the oncoming lane, and rolled past the Porsche, its shape blurred by in his side mirror, still gliding along at that same lazy pace. The driver didn't react, didn't even seem to notice. There was no honk, no flash of lights, nothing. Cal shook his head and pressed on, the Porsche shrinking into a faint dot in his side mirrors. Cal's night got interesting about 20 miles down the road. He was nursing some hot coffee, coast-to-coast AM reruns humming through the cab. Art Bell's voice crackling with tales of shadowy figures and government cover-ups. Comforting, in a strange way, on a dark and lonely night. That's when he saw the headlights flare in his mirrors, bright and closing in fast. The black Porsche surged up behind him, then swerved into the oncoming lane. It didn't pass like a normal car. It lunged, slicing close to his rig, a little too close. At the same time, he was distracted by his radio cutting out, replaced by a burst of static interference. "Damn!" Cal shouted, jerking the wheel. The trailer rocked, tires screaming against asphalt. The Porsche darted ahead, its taillights flashing like a taunt. Then it hit the brakes, slowing down right in front of him. Cal slammed his own brakes. Coffee splashed from the cup, sloshing into the holder and pooling on the floor. His pulse thudded in his ears. "What's your problem, pal?" he growled, knuckles white on the wheel. The Porsche hovered just ahead, pacing him for a beat. Then it accelerated, disappearing into the darkness like it was never there. No more than a second later, the radio signal cleared, and Art Bell was back, mid-sentence like nothing had happened. Cal's hands were still shaking. He told himself it was just a joyrider, some punk showing off, nothing more. He glanced at the dash clock, wanting to mark the time so he could check the footage later. 2:17 a.m. Funny. That's what it said the last time he looked. He frowned. Clock must be busted, he muttered. Still, he kept driving, eyes flicking to the mirrors every few seconds, half expecting those headlights to come creeping back out of the dark. And they did, about 30 miles later. The next encounter was worse. The Porsche didn't just pass. It toyed with him. It appeared from nowhere, headlights off, a black shadow in his mirrors. Cal's breath caught as it suddenly surged alongside, inches from his rig, pacing him like a wolf. The radio cut from his show and erupted in static again. He slammed the horn, its blare swallowed by the desert. The Porsche's engine revved as it veered sharply, forcing Cal to swerve. Gravel sprayed as his tires hit the shoulder, the trailer fishtailing. "Get away from me!" he screamed, sweat stinging his eyes. The Porsche darted ahead, headlights flicking on like a predator revealing itself, then slowed again. Cal's foot hovered over the brake, his mind racing. Was this guy crazy or drunk? The Porsche lingered, then peeled away, its roar echoing long after it disappeared. Cal's clock still read 2:17, and the voice of Art Bell came back on. By the third time he saw the lights coming up from behind, Cal's nerves were fraying. The Porsche didn't wait this time. The headlights, blinding in his mirrors. Its horn, a sharp, European electronic wail blaring behind him. Cal's chest tightened. He'd driven this route for 20 years, seen drunks and road ragers. But this felt personal. The Porsche swerved as it passed, dodging left, right, cutting erratic patterns, forcing Cal to weave just to avoid a collision. The radio squealed with static now. He couldn't focus. He hit the button to turn it off. Cal's vision tunneled. His breath went shallow. He floored the accelerator, pushing 80, but the Porsche matched him effortlessly, its sleek form glued to his blind spot. Then, abruptly, it tore off in front of him and braked. Cal swerved into the oncoming lane. His tires howled. The trailer nearly jackknifed. Just like that, the Porsche vanished again, leaving only silence and Cal's ragged breathing. He glanced at the clock. Still 2:17. The next encounter broke him. Cal was muttering to himself, eyes bloodshot, nerves shredded, when the headlights appeared again. Straight ahead, barreling toward him in his lane. It was the Porsche, coming head on, fast and blinding, like it was playing a game of chicken, and it wasn't flinching. "No, no, no," Cal whispered, his voice cracking. He tried to slow down, tried to anticipate the Porsche's move, but it swerved at the last second. Cal slammed his palm on the horn, the blare echoing through the night, just as the Porsche flashed by like a bullet, inches from his grill. The radio snapped on by itself, erupting in that same crackling static. The Porsche's brake lights flickered in his side mirror, pulsing in a strange, deliberate rhythm, almost like Morse code. Then, without warning, it whipped into a U-turn right in the middle of the highway and came charging back up behind him. It was toying with him, like a cat playing with a wounded mouse. The radio, still off, crackled to life again, just static, but it was sharper and louder this time. Cal's heart pounded. He slammed a fist against the dashboard. "What the hell is wrong with this guy?" he shouted. "Is he trying to get us both killed?" His rig felt like a nightmare version of Groundhog Day, a nightmare he couldn't wake from. When the Porsche finally blew past him in an aggressive blur, engine screaming, Cal jerked the wheel and pulled over, shaking and rattled to the core. He glanced at the dashboard clock. Still 2:17 a.m. From that point on, Cal didn't remember the rest of the drive. He just knew he somehow made it, limping into the railroad pass station on the outskirts of Las Vegas, his rig battered, his mind barely holding together. The neon glow of the station felt like salvation. He stumbled inside and found the restroom collapsing over the sink. Cold water splashed against his face, but it did little to bring him back. He gripped the porcelain, breathing hard, trying to remember what was real. As he walked back out to the truck, a billboard loomed just beyond the station. Las Vegas Exotic Car Show, featuring a black Porsche 911. The car in the ad gleamed, just like the one he'd seen again and again. Beneath it, a tagline: "Experience the drive of your life." Cal's bloodshot eyes locked on the image. Was it a coincidence? Or had that driver been some showboater heading to the event, screwing with him for kicks? At the next pump over, another trucker, Gus, a wiry man with a salt and pepper beard, was refueling. "You look like hell, buddy," Gus said, eyeing Cal's trembling hands. "You see that black Porsche out there? Damn thing was weaving like a drunk. Cut me off. Driving like a maniac." Cal's head snapped up, relief washing through him like a wave. "It happened to you too?" he croaked. Gus nodded. "Hell yeah. Thought it was going to run me off the road." Cal nodded slowly, his throat dry. He wasn't only one that had an eventful night. Back at his truck, a wave of calm settled over him. The station sign glowed in the early light, 5:03 a.m., but his dashboard clock stuck at 2:17. His head still spinning, fingers trembling, Cal pulled up the dashcam footage, unsure if he even wanted to relive it. With a deep breath, he hit play. The footage flickered to life, a highway stretching ahead. He scrubbed forward, searching for the moments he remembered. The panic, the chase, the swerves. There he was, gripping the wheel, wild-eyed and shouting. But there was no Porsche, no headlights, no taillights, no engine in pursuit. Just Cal, veering across the asphalt, honking, cursing and screaming at an empty road. His stomach dropped. He rewound, played it again, still no car, just him, alone in the dark, dodging ghosts. His voice echoed through the speakers. "Get away from me!" But there was no one there. Cal stared at the screen. The silence in the cab felt suffocating. Each frame showed the same thing: desert road, darkness, and a man unraveling. Was he losing his mind? Or had something else really been out there? Cal didn't know anymore. All he knew was that he still had a delivery to make. Unsettled, he turned the key. The engine rumbled to life, and so did the clock. It finally changed. From 2:17 to 5:30 a.m., Art Bell's voice drifted in again, smooth and steady. As the first pale hints of dawn stretched over the city of Las Vegas, Cal exhaled and pulled out of the station. He needed to make his drop, get some sleep, and forget the whole thing. But just as he cleared the lot, the radio cut out. A burst of sharp static, then silence, before snapping back to normal. Cal froze for half a second, eyes flicking to the side mirrors, searching. There was nothing, just the empty lot behind him, or so it seemed. Unseen from his angle, tucked behind a parked hauler, a black Porsche waited in silence. Then, its headlights blinked on, casting a faint glow across the pavement. A pair of long, slender legs in stiletto heels stepped out from the shadows, moving toward the car with a purposeful elegance. She slid into the driver's seat, graceful, effortless, as if she'd been waiting. The door closed, and the engine purred low, soft, steady, like a predator waking up. As Cal pulled out, the black car eased out as well, gliding forward with a whisper, tires barely kissing the pavement. Back on the interstate, his eyes caught a billboard glowing in the dawn haze. Its neon lights advertised a sleek black Porsche 911. But this time, the Porsche in the image stared back at him, not just as a display, but mocking him. Because on dark, empty stretches of desert, there are hunters, predators with engines. They toy with the lonely, chase the tired, and vanish before the world ever knows they were there. It doesn't care about rules or recklessness. It just needs the right stretch of road and someone to follow.